Morning. It's Thursday, December 7th, a day that will live in infamy. That is what President Roosevelt spoke about the attack on Pearl Harbor. He meant to emphasize the historic nature of the events at Pearl Harbor, urging the American people never to forget the attack and memorialize the date. So the term Day of Infamy has become widely used by the media to refer to any moment of supreme disgrace or evil. And I was a young man of 6 when this took place, and I did not fully understand the magnitude of the issue that was about to begin. The phrase, the day that will live in infamy, was used to replace the initial draft, which called it a date which will live in world history. But Roosevelt felt that wasn't powerful enough. A date that will live in infamy was deliberately passive but much more powerful than world history. So Roosevelt spoke to speak in a passive voice on that particular day to emphasize that the United States was a victim of a vicious attack in Pearl Harbor. Now, the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor because they did not want the U.S. fleet out in the waters, because the Japanese had a powerful fleet also, and they did not want any competition in the water. But it didn't work out very well for them, because several of the U.S. aircraft carriers were not in Pearl Harbor on that particular day. And so later on, at the Battle of Midway, the Japanese fleet was decimated by the U.S. fleet, the same ships that they had intended to destroy on December 7th. So the Japanese knew that the U.S. fleet was powerful, and they did not want them in the waters. In any event, Roosevelt's ending to his speech was quite dramatic also, but it doesn't get the notice of the terms a day that will live in infamy. But he ended his speech with saying, no matter how long it may take us to overcome this premeditated invasion, the American people in their righteous might will win through to an absolute victory. I believe I interpret the will of the Congress and the will of the people when I assert that we will not only defend ourselves to the uttermost, but will make very certain that this form of treachery shall never again endanger us. Hostilities exist, but there is no blinking at the fact that our people, our territory, our interests are in grave danger. With confidence in our armed forces, with unbounding determination of our people, we will gain the inevitable triumph. So help us God. I ask that Congress declare that since the unprovoked and dastardly attack by Japan on Sunday, December 7th, 1941, a state of war has existed between the United States and the Japanese Empire. That's what he said at the end of this famous Day of Infamy speech. And Congress, of course, enacted war right away. When will we ever again see the likes of Franklin Roosevelt as a speaker and as a leader of our nation? Where have those people gone? And I refer to those people in the days of war: Roosevelt and Truman, Lyndon Johnson, Eisenhower, Ronald Reagan even. Where have those people gone? We are now in a situation in our country that needs that type of leadership again. And that speech that Roosevelt made had an immediate impact and long-standing impact that rose our country to great heights. And I remember how long it took to win World War II. And I remember when Harry Truman used the atomic bomb to end the war, essentially, and killed 500,000 Japanese people. Would that happen today? I'm not so sure it would. So when we think back about the terrible things that we have done in this country over the last couple of years, we should look at our history, look at what we did during World War II and how we came together and united, and why is our nation now rent asunder, so to speak. We can't work together anymore. So I remind you today, the day that will live in infamy is tomorrow, but it all started on this day in 1941. And we lost 2,300 people at Pearl Harbor. Let us not forget that. This was not just a little blip in the course of history. It's a monumental event that happened on December 7th. Roosevelt and the nation responded appropriately, and there was only one representative who chose to vote against the declaration of war. And her name was Jeannette Rankin. And one could say that's a name that might live in infamy, because I can't imagine how one person even voted against going to war with Japan after their heinous act. And the rest of the nation was with Roosevelt 100%. The White House was inundated with telegrams praising Roosevelt's stance. And one writer wrote, "On that Sunday we were dismayed and frightened, but your unbounded courage pulled us together." Have we got anybody in this country right now who could do that? I don't think so. So I'm going to leave you with that. A sad but great day in our history. And let's reflect on how we built our nation from that point on. And let's look at the state we're in right now and recognize the great differences that have occurred between then and now, and the quality of our representatives between then and now. So I leave you with that. Have a great day. Bye.